With protocol already established, I want to welcome all of you here this afternoon. As we come together for the Memorial Day ceremony to remember and to honor those who made the ultimate sacrifice to secure our freedom, I cannot help but reflect on the story of Jules Schelvis and how World War II impacted his life. About 8 years ago, a proud Schelvis at the age of 93 at the time stood at the Westerkerk in Amsterdam and recounted his journey to the extermination camp in Sobibor in Germany, occupied Poland in June of 1943. He vividly recalled the transportation of 62 people in a single railway wagon, and the hunger, the exhaustion, and the filth that they were forced to endure. He could still see the soldiers ripping watches off the wrist upon arrival. And he spoke of how he lost his wife Rachel in the ensuing chaos. He never saw her again. And I quote, "Which normal human being could have imagined this? How could the world allow this? Honest citizens of the Netherlands to be treated like vermin," unquote. Schelvis asked. Nearly 80 years after the World War II ended, we still struggle to answer these questions honestly. As we gather here today to honor those who have died during the war and in other conflicts since, we must ask ourselves, what lessons have we learned? Henry Fennikel, whose happy childhood in The Hague was destroyed by Nazi occupation in 1940 and was deported to Bergen-Belsen concentration camp in Germany, is worried that we have learned nothing. And I quote, "Look at the terrible things that are happening. As human beings, we haven't learned the lesson," unquote. Fennikel said years ago. If the butchery and savagery in Ukraine right now is anything to go by, Fennikel may be right. The stories of Schelvis and Fennikel could easily be the stories of tens of millions of survivors who were scarred by the war. And today we are here to remember them. We also remember the estimated 60 million who died during World War II. It is a staggering number of casualties. Among them were civilians and soldiers who bravely put their own safety on the line for our sake. We must never forget them. We must never forget the sacrifice they made. And we must never take it for granted. The freedom they fought, they brought us in our lives today. Unlike the tens of millions in Europe, Stacia did not experience the full terrors of the war, nor have we been victims of violent global conflicts that have erupted since. There was no merciless bombing of our homes from the skies, no nuclear bombs raining down on us here on Stacia. We were not arrested and taken to our deaths, nor were we forced onto the streets. And decades later, as is happening now in Ukraine, we are not exposed to the widespread destruction of our islands and our heritage, nor are we forced to live in bomb shelters. And that is what is happening in our world right now. And the question is, have we not learned anything? But who knows what may have happened would the World War II drag on longer. How different things could have been had brave station men like J.C. Van Putten, W.O Hooker, and M Dambruck not join others in giving up their lives for us. And those were the 3 stations who lost their lives in World War II. Rudyard Kipling, the English short story writer, poet, and novelist, in his poem, The Old Issue, captured brilliantly the sacrifices these men made, and I quote, "When you go home, tell them of us and say, for their tomorrow we give our today," unquote. On this Memorial Day, as we remember them for their bravery, selflessness, and patriotism, please allow me to remind you of my supplication of last year for us stations to live in the legacy of these great men. Let us not look away while there is injustice against our brothers and sisters. Let us not justify nepotism or brush aside bias or normalize hurtful and destructive language. And let us not turn our backs to those who feel abandoned and unsupported. Instead, let us go to war in defense of values such as honesty, integrity, and fortitude of character. Let us be unwavering in our support of what we know is right. On this Memorial Day, let us all demonstrate that we have indeed learned our lessons by renewing our faith in each other, in our country, and in our station. Thank you.